First Contact and Ultimatum. Captain Maya Chen stood at the helm of the EDF Resilience, Earth's most advanced starship and the pride of the Earth Defense Fleet. Through the panoramic viewport, a formation of alien vessels approached. Massive crystalline structures that seemed to ripple with internal energy, dwarfing her ship by a factor of 5. "Status report," she ordered, her voice calm despite the hammering of her heart. Humanity had encountered other spacefaring species before, but never anything like this fleet. The sheer scale spoke of technological capabilities far beyond Earth's current understanding. Lieutenant Amir Patel's fingers danced across his console. 7 vessels, Captain. Energy readings off the charts. They're hailing us. Maya straightened her uniform. First contact protocols had been drilled into her since Academy days. On screen, the main display flickered, revealing a towering figure with iridescent scales covering a vaguely humanoid form. 6 eyes arranged in a hexagonal pattern regarded them with cold calculation. When it spoke, the translation system struggled momentarily before producing a deep, resonant voice. "I am Supreme Commander Selzor of the Xeraxian Empire, Masters of the Andromeda Reach. Your species has drawn our attention with your primitive attempts at interstellar travel." Maya maintained her composure. "I am Captain Maya Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet. We welcome peaceful contact with the Xeraxian Empire and hope to establish diplomatic relations." A sound like crystalline chimes echoed through the transmission. Laughter, perhaps. "Diplomatic relations. Your species is barely capable of sustaining fusion reactors. The Xeraxian Empire has channeled the energy of entire stars for millennia." "Nevertheless," Maya replied, "we offer friendship and knowledge exchange. Earth has much Earth has nothing we require." Selzar interrupted. "However, your system possesses resources we find useful, and your species has demonstrated minimal potential for biological adaptation. The High Council has determined that humans will be permitted to exist as a protectorate race, providing labor and test subjects in exchange for your continued existence." The bridge fell silent. Maya felt a chill run down her spine, but kept her expression neutral. "I'm afraid that arrangement is unacceptable. Humans are not a servile species." All 6 of Selzar's eyes blinked in sequence. "You misunderstand, Captain. This is not a negotiation. We are informing you of your future. Resistance would be." One of the smaller Xeraxian vessels fired a beam of coruscating energy at a nearby unmanned satellite. The satellite didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, leaving not even debris behind. "Inadvisable. We will relay your message to Earth's United Council," Maya said, fighting to keep the tremor from her voice. "But I must warn you, Commander Selzar, humans do not surrender our freedom, not to anyone. You have 14 Earth days to prepare your leadership for our arrival and formal integration into the Empire. Use this time wisely, Captain." The transmission ended abruptly. "Set course for Earth, maximum speed," Maya ordered. "And send everything we recorded directly to the Council. We need to prepare." The United Council chamber in New Geneva buzzed with tension. Representatives from Earth's 195 nations and 17 colony worlds sat in tiered rows, all eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the Xeraxian fleet, now parked just beyond Luna's orbit. "They've established a base on the far side of the moon," Defense Secretary Omar Williams reported. "Our lunar colonists have been evacuated, but the Xeraxians haven't interfered with them. They're simply waiting for us to kneel," Maya added from her position at the briefing podium. "I studied the sensor data from our encounter. Their technology is thousands of years beyond ours. Direct military confrontation would be suicide." President Eleanor Garcia nodded grimly. "And diplomacy?" Dr. Sanjay Mehta, Earth's leading xenolinguist, stepped forward. "We've attempted 17 different diplomatic approaches in the past week. The Xeraxians respond to each with the same message: accept protectorate status or face consequences. They view us as we might view particularly clever primates. Interesting, potentially useful, but certainly not equals. Then what options do we have? Asked the representative from Mars Colony. A contemplative silence fell over the chamber until Dr. Eliza Mbeki, head of Xenobiology Research, cleared her throat. There's something peculiar in their communications. When reviewing the transcripts, I noticed the Ziraxians repeatedly express confusion about human cognitive patterns. They can't predict our responses. Explain, President Garcia prompted. The Ziraxian Empire has apparently subjugated dozens of species across their history, Dr. Mbeki continued. According to fragments we've decoded from their transmissions, these species all share a similar neural architecture, logical, linear, and highly specialized. Humans, however, she pulled up a comparative brain scan. Our neural pathways are chaotic by comparison. We make intuitive leaps. We use metaphor and abstraction. We create art for no purpose other than emotional expression. Captain Chen leaned forward. During our encounter, they seemed puzzled when I suggested humans wouldn't accept servitude, almost as if rebellion against overwhelming odds was incomprehensible to them. Dr. Mbeki nodded. Their biology and technology are vastly superior, but their psychology may be their weakness. They're hyper-rational, predictable. Humans are anything but. A murmur swept through the chamber as council members processed this information. What exactly are you suggesting? President Garcia asked. I'm suggesting, Dr. Mbeki replied, that while we can't match their strength, we might be able to confuse, distract, and ultimately outthink them. Maya felt a spark of hope ignite in her chest. That's exactly the kind of asymmetric approach we need. The Ziraxians expect us to either surrender or launch a conventional attack. Let's show them something they've never seen before. President Garcia stood, her expression resolute. Captain Chen, Dr. Mbeki, I'm placing you in charge of our response strategy. We have 7 days before their deadline expires. Make them count. Yes, Madam President, Maya replied, her mind already racing with possibilities. The Ziraxians thought humans were primitive and predictable. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. The week passed in a blur of activity, while the world's governments publicly prepared for the arrival of their benefactors. A different kind of preparation took place in secret facilities around the globe. Maya stood in a vast underground hangar beneath the Gobi Desert, watching as engineers made final adjustments to what they called the Pandora devices, technology that shouldn't have worked according to conventional physics, but somehow did, thanks to the creative leaps of human scientists working without the constraints of traditional thinking. Will they be ready in time? She asked Dr. Ravi Kapoor, the project's lead scientist. Just barely, he replied, wiping sweat from his brow. We've had to reinvent physics 3 times this week, but yes, they'll be ready. In another corner of the facility, Dr. Mbeki supervised a team of neurologists and psychologists developing what they call the Chaos Protocol, a communication strategy designed to exploit the rigid thinking patterns of the Ziraxians. How certain are you that this will work? Maya asked her. Dr. Mbeki smiled thinly. In science, certainty is a luxury we rarely enjoy, Captain. But our simulations show a 63% probability of triggering severe cognitive dissonance in their command structure. It's the best chance we have. Maya nodded. It would have to be enough. On the final day before the deadline, she addressed a joint session of the United Council, outlining their plan. When she finished, a heavy silence hung over the chamber. This is madness, the Chinese representative finally said. We're betting the survival of our species on confusing them. No, Maya replied firmly. We're betting on human creativity, unpredictability, and our refusal to accept domination. Throughout our history, technologically superior forces have been defeated by determined insurgents using asymmetric tactics. The Ziraxians have never encountered anything like us. President Garcia rose from her seat. The alternative is submission. I, for one, would rather take this chance. She looked around the chamber. All in favor? One by one, hands raised. Not unanimously, but enough. Then it's decided, the president declared. Operation Pandora begins at dawn. As Maya left the chamber, her communication device chimed. A message from the Resilience. The Xeraxian fleet was on the move. The deadline hadn't even arrived, but their patience had apparently run out. "They're coming," she told Dr. Mbiki, who walked beside her. "Now we find out if humans really are as unpredictable as we think." Dr. Mbiki's expression remained calm, but her eyes betrayed her anxiety. "For what it's worth, Captain, I believe we are. The question is whether that's enough to save us." As the first reports of Xeraxian ships entering Earth's atmosphere came in, Maya could only hope she was right. The next 24 hours would determine the fate of humanity, not through overwhelming force, but through the power of the human mind to imagine solutions where none seemed possible. The game was about to begin. Humanity's response. The Xeraxian command ship descended through Earth's atmosphere with an eerie silence, its crystalline structure refracting sunlight into prismatic patterns across the clouds. 6 smaller vessels formed a hexagonal formation around it as they approached the designated meeting point, the vast plaza outside the United Council headquarters in New Geneva. Supreme Commander Zelzer stood on the bridge, 6 eyes fixed on the primitive structures below. "Curious," he remarked to his second-in-command. "The humans have made no attempt to attack us, yet our scouts report significant activity in subterranean facilities worldwide." "Perhaps they are hiding in fear," his subordinate suggested. "Perhaps," Zelzer agreed, though something about the situation troubled him. The initial encounter with the human vessel had triggered anomalous readings in their predictive behavior algorithms. While every other species they had encountered followed logical response patterns to overwhelming force, humans displayed inconsistencies. No matter. The Xeraxian Empire had subjugated 37 spacefaring civilizations. One more primitive world would make little difference. As the command ship touched down, Zelzer prepared to address Earth's leaders and formalize their new status as imperial subjects. The ship's sensors detected thousands of humans gathered around the plaza, with security forces forming a perimeter. Exactly as protocol dictated for a surrender ceremony, Zelzer activated the ship's external projection system. A massive holographic image of his form materialized above the plaza, towering over the assembled humans. "People of Earth," his amplified voice resonated across the gathering. "Your transition to imperial protection begins now. Your leaders will present themselves for neural compliance marking." "Resistance is." He paused as a single human stepped forward from the diplomatic line. Captain Maya Chen, whom he recognized from their initial encounter. "Supreme Commander Zelzer," she called out, her voice amplified by a simple device. "Before proceedings continue, Earth's United Council has prepared a ceremonial response. With your permission." Zelzer's sensory ridges rippled with mild surprise. Most species simply submitted when faced with the inevitable. This ceremonial request was unexpected. Still, such rituals often eased the transition for primitive cultures. "You may proceed," he granted magnanimously. Captain Chen nodded and raised her hand. Across the plaza, hundreds of humans lifted strange devices, simple metallic constructs that couldn't possibly be weapons according to Xeraxian scans. "Supreme Commander," Maya announced clearly, "humanity rejects your offer of protection. Instead, we extend an invitation. Leave our system in peace, or witness the consequences of underestimating human ingenuity." Zelzer's primary hearts quickened in astonishment at this defiance. Before he could respond, the humans activated their devices. Nothing happened, at least nothing detectable to Xeraxian senses. Their ship's systems, however, began reporting anomalies. Quantum field disturbances, probability fluctuations, patterns that shouldn't exist within the laws of physics as the Xeraxians understood them. "What trickery is this?" Zelzer demanded, watching as his ship's predictive algorithms began failing, one after another. On the ground, Maya smiled grimly. The Pandora devices were working. generating quantum uncertainty fields that disrupted the Ziraxians' hyper-rational technology. Dr. Kapoor had discovered that the aliens' advanced systems relied on absolute predictability at the quantum level, something humans had long ago accepted as impossible according to their understanding of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. "This is humanity's response, Commander," she replied. "You calculated that we would submit or fight conventionally. You never considered that we might change the rules." Across the globe, thousands more Pandora devices activated simultaneously, creating a planetary network of quantum uncertainty. The effect on Ziraxian technology was immediate. Their ship's systems began fluctuating, crystal structures vibrating at frequencies that threatened structural integrity. Zelzor ordered an immediate attack, but his weapons systems returned conflicting probability calculations, rendering them temporarily inoperable. For the first time in his centuries-long existence, the Supreme Commander felt something akin to fear. Second phase, Maya ordered through her communication device. Dr. Mbiki's team activated the Chaos Protocol, a barrage of contradictory information, paradoxical statements, and nonsensical cultural references broadcast directly to the Ziraxian neural network. To the hyperlogical Ziraxian mind, this cognitive dissonance was more disorienting than any physical attack. "Your logical fallacies are stardust," the broadcast began. "The beginning is the end, is the beginning. This statement is false. We surrender by attacking. Peace through superior firepower. The cake is a lie." Aboard the command ship, Ziraxian crew members clutched their sensory organs, their carefully ordered minds struggling to process information that defied categorization. Their neural networks, evolved for perfect logical processing, had no defense against deliberate nonsense. Zelzor fought through the disorientation. "Retreat to orbit," he commanded. "Regroup and commence orbital bombardment." The Ziraxian ships rose shakily, their normal grace compromised by the quantum disruption fields. As they ascended, Maya gave the signal for the third phase of humanity's defense. High above Earth, a fleet of seemingly primitive human vessels waited, retrofitted mining ships, atmospheric shuttles, even obsolete military craft. None were a match for Ziraxian technology under normal circumstances. But these weren't normal circumstances. "This is Admiral Okonkwo of the Earth Defense Fleet," a new voice announced over the communication channels. "All ships, execute Operation Firefly." The assembled human vessels scattered in seemingly random patterns, each deploying smaller drones that resembled nothing more than glittering dust in space. The Ziraxian sensors couldn't lock onto them. The quantum disruption from Earth was extending into orbit, creating a fog of probability that rendered precise targeting impossible. Meanwhile, the dust attached itself to the crystalline hulls of the Ziraxian ships. These microscopic machines, programmed with adaptive algorithms inspired by Earth's most resilient organisms, tardigrades, began analyzing and infiltrating the alien vessels at a molecular level. "What are these creatures?" Zelzor demanded as reports flooded in of system failures across his fleet. "How can they possess such technology yet lack basic interstellar capabilities?" The answer came not from his subordinates, but from a direct transmission from Earth, Dr. Eliza Mbiki herself. "We don't think like you do, Commander," she explained, her voice calm despite the chaos unfolding in orbit. "You evolved for perfect logic and consistency. We evolved to embrace contradiction, to find patterns in chaos, to imagine what doesn't exist, and then make it real. What you're experiencing isn't advanced technology. It's human creativity weaponized." As if to emphasize her point, the microscopic machines began reconstructing the Ziraxian ship's communication systems, forcing them to broadcast Earth's music, everything from classical symphonies to heavy metal, from jazz improvisations to pop melodies. The dissonant cacophony further disrupted the Ziraxians' neural patterns. In the command ship, Zelzor made a decision unprecedented in Imperial history. "Full retreat," he ordered. "All vessels, exit this system immediately." "Supreme Commander," his second protested, "the High Council will never accept." The High Council didn't account for this. Zelzar gestured at the chaos surrounding them. These humans don't follow any pattern we understand. They're using technology that shouldn't work. They're broadcasting concepts that cannot exist. We cannot defeat what we cannot comprehend. As the Xeraxian fleet struggled to regroup, preparing for emergency translocation, Maya Chen opened a direct channel to Zelzar. Before you leave, Commander, understand this. We didn't use our most powerful weapons today. We showed restraint. Return with hostile intent, and next time, we'll show you what human imagination is truly capable of. For several seconds, Zelzar was silent, his 6 eyes blinking in an irregular pattern that signified deep disturbance in Xeraxian body language. You are not what we thought you were, he finally responded. The Empire will reassess. With that, the Xeraxian fleet vanished in a cascade of spatial distortions, leaving Earth's orbit empty save for the human vessels and their cloud of microscopic defenders. On the ground, celebrations erupted as the news spread. Humanity had faced its greatest threat not through superior firepower, but through superior thinking, embracing the very chaos and unpredictability that defined them. 3 months later, Captain Maya Chen stood on the observation deck of the newly commissioned EDF Imagination, Earth's first vessel incorporating some of the principles they'd glimpsed in Xeraxian technology, but modified to work within human paradigms. Captain, Lieutenant Patel called from his station. We're receiving a transmission. It's from the edge of the solar system. Maya felt her pulse quicken. Source: Xeraxian, but not Imperial configuration. It appears to be a diplomatic vessel. The main screen activated, showing not Supreme Commander Zelzar, but a different Xeraxian. One with elaborate markings that Dr. Mbiki's research suggested indicated a scientific rather than military role. I am researcher Telzara of the Xeraxian Scientific Collective, the alien announced. I come separate from Imperial authority to propose an exchange of knowledge. Maya raised an eyebrow. The Empire has reconsidered its position. The Empire is in transition, Telzara replied carefully. Your species' response has triggered widespread reevaluation of our assumptions about cognitive evolution. Many of us believe we have much to learn from humans. And the Supreme Commander? Zelzar has been reassigned to administrative duties far from the expansion front. Telzara said, with what might have been the Xeraxian equivalent of amusement. His failure to predict human behavior was considered instructive. Maya allowed herself a small smile. We're open to knowledge exchange, researcher Telzara, but as equals, not subjects. Equality is a concept we are now exploring, the Xeraxian admitted. Your species' ability to function effectively within chaos is unprecedented in our experience. The scientific collective believes this may represent an evolutionary path we had not previously considered viable. As arrangements for the first true diplomatic meeting between humans and Xeraxians proceeded, Maya gazed out at the stars. The encounter had changed humanity too. Earth's nations had come together, pooling resources and knowledge in ways previously thought impossible. The threat had passed, but the unity and innovation it sparked remained. The Xeraxians had arrived expecting to find primitive beings ready for subjugation. Instead, they discovered that human unpredictability, creativity, and determination were forces more powerful than any technology. They had learned what other would-be conquerors throughout human history have discovered. Underestimate humanity at your peril. In the vast darkness between stars, where countless civilizations rose and fell, humanity had earned its place. Not through dominance, but through the uniquely human gift of imagining a different future and making it real. As the imagination prepared to receive Earth's first alien diplomatic mission, Maya thought that seemed like a good place to start.